We're now on to version 2 of our personal mock draft, seeing what we would do if we were Mickey Loomis. At number 29, instead of taking a defensive tackle, I'm going to take an edge rusher, Isaiah Foskey out of Notre Dame. With that, I mean, you've really hit on a lot of the interior of the defensive line, re-signing Malcolm Roach, getting Nathan Shepard, and then also getting another defensive tackle in free agency. So you've filled it a lot. You don't necessarily need to go at 29, but getting an edge rusher, if you don't get someone like Yannick Ngakoue in free agency, I think hitting that at 29 is really going to help, especially with not having a lot of years left with Cam Jordan. So getting Isaiah Foskey, he matches the archetype, 6'5", 265, kind of matching that power rusher type that the Saints usually like to go with. At 40, I'm going to take O'Cyrus Torrence. You know, at this point, Andrews Pete, you're kind of looking to get rid of him. Get him out the door as soon as possible. Getting O'Cyrus Torrence, that's really going to help speed up the process, especially with, he's a former Louisiana Raging Cajun, so being able to bolster up that offensive line and getting someone that we're pretty familiar with in the area, that'd be pretty swag. At the number 71 spot, I'm going to take my guy. I have fallen in love with this guy. He matches a lot of what I used to think about with Marcus Colson. 6'5", wide receiver out of Notre Dame, or not Notre Dame, Wake Forest, A.T. Perry. Every time I watch this highlight tape, I'm like, wow, I'm stunned. I think you need another big body receiver, especially if Michael Thomas, if he misses a lot of time like we've seen in the last 3 years, if he doesn't play a lot, you'd like to have another big X receiver that you could work with that could go deep and still play and match the zone to be able to beat it and get yards after the catch. He likes to break a lot of tackles. At the 115 spot in the 4th round, I'm going to take Cameron Latu, the tight end from Alabama. At this point, you got Juwan Johnson, you got Taysom Hill. You were looking to get Foster Moreau, but unfortunately, he's not going to be available with the news that he announced on Twitter that he has cancer. Very unfortunate. Thoughts and prayers go out to him. At this point, Taysom Hill, even though he didn't start playing in the NFL till he was 27 or so, he's in his 30s. You'd want somebody else other than Juwan Johnson, because Juwan's more of a receiving tight end, and you'd want somebody that can kind of do a little bit of both, and that I think that's what Latu can do for you in the tight end room. Looking at the 5th pick, I went with Moro Ojomo out of Texas, an interior defensive lineman. Since you don't have to get somebody in the 1st round, I think you can get someone there in the 5th round at 146. It'll help bolster that up a little bit more. Let's see who can stand out, because you got some guys, but you don't have the guy just yet. Let's see if anybody can stand out there. Then in the 5th round, I'd take my guy, Deuce Vaughn. I've been saying it on our show. I want Deuce Vaughn. Everybody's sleeping on him. Every time I've watched him, every time I watch a Kansas State game, he always makes big plays. You could always go with a Kenny McIntosh. You could always go with a Tajay Spears. But I think someone that no one is talking about is Deuce Vaughn, that you can really get, especially since Jamal, he's 27. You got Alvin Kamara, who's also 27. He's going to be facing a suspension. You need to get some depth and some youth. Go get Deuce Vaughn, Saints. I'm telling you, he's that guy. Then I went with Bumper Pool out of Arkansas, linebacker. You don't have Caden Ellis at this point. You're mainly focused on Pete Werner and Demario Davis right now. You only run usually 2 linebackers, but Bumper Pool being a nice depth piece at linebacker, I think that could really help. And I also just really like the name. I mean, who doesn't love Bumper Pool as a name? Come on. And then with the last pick, I'm taking Jason Taylor II, the safety out of Oklahoma State. The kid in his senior season, he had almost 100 tackles, and he ended up getting 6 interceptions, where in 2021 he had 2.5 sacks, got a couple of interceptions there, and scored a touchdown. So he's kind of a ball hawk there. It'd give more depth, and I feel like he could have some versatility in that secondary. That's my mock draft. Hopefully the Saints can replicate, because, I mean, come on. What can you go wrong with that?